service of humanity, and they were just one phone call away. And last week we have just taken, there were some changes in the divine drama, whereby our previous. And as always, before I begin, all of us know very well Brother Eric Lareste from Canada. He, as we speak now, I think he's retired very much, but he had started his career as a journalist. And he has served into the Brahma Kumaris as the national coordinator since a long, long time now. And he's also instrumental in opening meditation centers in various parts of Canada, to be particular, Edmonton and Calgary. And at the moment, he serves from Montreal, Canada. And we have another beautiful guest speaker with us, another Eric Larson, who's joining from the US. There. Also, he's the representative of the Brahma Kumaris to the United Nations and a member of the NGO committees on freedom of religion or belief and the religious NGOs. He also serves as the board of directors on the Long Island Multi-Faith Forum. And I mean, in the Logic profession, he has worked as a civil engineer. So there we are, both Brother Erics. Welcome, a hearty welcome to both of you. And as always, I hope I'm not cutting off, but please bear with me. The poem should for both of you before we give you all the stage. So with our dear brothers today, we all have a very special appointment, don't we? That's because they shall inspire us today with their words of enrichment. They, in their interactions, demonstrate an extreme sense of commitment and serve the North America, observing everyone without passing any judgment. They have this marvelous ability to gel well and be an embodiment of adjustment. Hence, every soul in their company experiences contentment and fulfillment. Their moral muscle is indeed strong with the help of the spiritual ligament, which in turn keeps them grounded, very grounded, despite receiving special treatment. Through their unlimited service, they transport the supreme shipment, which colors the soul with the company of the Supreme Soul's pigment. And finally, let's today listen to them very carefully and not be intermittent. Let's be continuous, not intermittent, so that we can benefit from their uplifted spiritual equipment. So there you are, and thanks so much. And I hope I was audible throughout. I'm sure I was. So I think as all of you know, the translations are present at the base. You all can just select an interpretation icon. And as always, for the first roughly 50 to 55 minutes, they shall be speaking. And then we'll take the question answer sessions. This time it's Sister Claudia and Sister Anu taking. Yeah, they're asking me to get out of the train now.
Okay, so thank you, Manoj Bhai. We could hear you thoroughly. So now we welcome Sister Claudia, by the way, to welcome the person. Thank you.
Om Shanti. It is quite an interesting day today. We see the commitment of Manoj on the train, and then the commitment of those two brothers who are also on the other train, doing so much work. And then we have lots to learn from both of you. I'm sure that we are going to learn so much, because since young age, you both are committed to this spiritual part, and also in your jobs as well. So I just like to welcome I thought two flowers, because two brothers, they are lily, but one is pink and the other one is white. So I think they are the same family, like you both are the same name. So, and they all have so much fragrance, like you both have so much fragrance. So I just like to welcome you, and I'm sure we are going to learn lots from you. So welcome to this journey, and welcome today to this program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Brother Manoj, and all the team. I know you've been inviting us at the last minute, and we're both Eric and both committed. And the guest speaker was supposed to be doing this talk as other commitments. So we're all committed to something or another. So we had to fill in. Anyway, so just loving greetings to each and every one. And from the heart, really nice to join this group once again, and very lovely to share with a very good friend of mine, a good brother, Eric. How are you doing, Eric Bai?
I'm doing great now that I'm into the program and I was allowed to join. I feel very happy and satisfied and accepted.
You're loved, accepted, more than that. Yeah, and Manoj Bai was on a train, and I'm in a room in Peace Village. You're in New York, and now we're connected in magical ways as usual. Maybe to give, I'd like to always feel, Eric, when we do these programs online, at least now it's fun because we can see each other and talk to each other. So I feel less alone. Sometimes when we talk for an hour, I'm always scared that at the end of the hour, I'm going to be told, sorry, but actually you cut off and we never heard you and you talked by yourself all alone for an hour. So I'm glad this time I'm going to know for sure. I'm not going to be talking to myself for an hour. But I like to always start, with acknowledging everyone online at the moment, but those who are going to listen also. And the difficulty for Eric and I today will be to remain a little bit serious because we tend to be fairly enjoying each other's company to such an extent that we rarely stay serious for more than 2 minutes. So I don't know, Eric, if you can feel we can really manage 1 hour of being kind of a little bit serious together and exchange meaningful ideas that will not turn into a cultural program or a comic show or something like that.
Who knows? We'll see. Have fun.
So to each and everyone, just a very warm, welcome from both of us, Eric and I. And I think that we'll be meditating also at some points, but maybe just for a minute. I was always thinking it's good to, just focus a little bit and imagine we're all together in one big room, not just in a big Zoom, but we're really in a big room together. And let's try to feel that we are together, all of us. I see like so many already online, but so many more will be joining. And just in that feeling of being together, I would suggest that we also create our own experience of commitment. Because if we are together now, it's that we are taking time for ourselves. We're taking time to share, to listen, to learn, to grow. And I think that taking time for the self is a big, big commitment already. And it shows that there is something that makes us commit to giving time, energy, money sometimes to those moments that we're taking for ourselves. So let's just have a moment where we appreciate really being in a safe gathering where, everyone will be welcome to ask questions. We can share. Eric and I will be happy to share from a very open heart, very honest heart. So we're in a secure zone where we can be with one another, feeling we're being accepted, we're being respected, and we're being loved. So it's a beautiful moment to spend together. Wherever we are, in the train, in the plane, anywhere, it's fine. So Eric, we had a little chit chat yesterday to think about commitment. And I know there could be so many ways to explore this notion of commitment. So let's enjoy our conversation and let me start, asking you, what is your sense of commitment? Do you think you're really a committed person, or are we committed? What do you think when you first hear the word commitment?
Obligation. Somehow a commitment means that I'm going to do something. And it's interesting for me to think to the degree of commitment on things. But it is one of those words or feelings where I must do this. And sometimes it's like, if I don't do it, it won't get done. And that's kind of an overboard feeling. But a commitment to me is that I will show up at this time. I will do as I have indicated, and that I will put some activity or action towards a goal in my life to see it through. And I want to say that all of us here have made some sort of a commitment, and that we are doing things. And I like to check these things out. And it's just not an offering of something, but it's an offering of the self. I am committed. I am committed to a value or a goal or whatever it's going to be, and I will do something to make that happen. And so a lot of commitments that we make, but that's kind of my first kind of brush with that understanding of what that means.
Is it a positive feeling, you think, or is commitment one of those virtues where, like, it's an obligation we have to do? Oh my God, I have to do this again. Why did I say yes? Why am I committed to this? Does it come with a load of, oh my God, or does it come to, oh yes, I look forward to it?
Both. And I would say it comes with the feeling that if I do this, I get something from it. And for us, kind of anticipating who the audience is, there's a commitment that I've made to following a guidance, Srimad, a direction, a certain way. And I kind of think that it's there. And so some can see God's directions as a burden, a limitation, something that will, kind of stop you from doing other things. And so it's very easy to see, oh, Srimad, that's the rule, that's the way it has to be. That's something that is not good. It restricts me. Or you can look at guidance of God, Srimad, his directions, those types of rules as supportive of guides, as something that will be helpful. And so therefore, when you follow that, when you allow yourself to be committed to those types of restrictions, if you want to call them that, it's actually freeing. And that's kind of an oxymoron, if you know the term, restrictions that would free you. Okay. And one of the qualifications that I heard was that we make a sacrifice for a bigger benefit. Okay. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, you say, well, I'm not going to do this because there's a reward, a different reward. And so sometimes when we make a commitment, it's that sense that I will do something, I won't do something else, but I know if I do the first thing, there will be greater benefit for me somewhere down the line. And so having that sense that I am narrowing my choices so that I make better choices, ultimately will result in something better and wonderful. And I think that's why a commitment's there, that the value or the purpose is recognized. And so other things are not as important.
I will share also on my level, but I was wondering for you, do you find that commitment is a something, what's your relationship with commitment? Is it something that you feel good about, or is it something that you feel sometimes is burdening you, or it's a load on your shoulder, or do you like to get the little box ticked quickly so the commitment is over and you can move on to something else?
I typically will check email in the morning when I come into an office and a desk to see how things look. And the more I can get rid of things, the lighter I am. And so if I focus in on getting rid of distractions, clearing things out, then I kind of know how my day is going to go. Oftentimes the evening, I know how my day is going to go, and I double check that. But if I make a commitment to sort things through, and I can kind of take care of things, then that gives me a sense of freedom. One of the other aspects about that type of a process and procedure is that I don't have to think so much when I'm committed to something. And I don't have to spend any energy kind of, is this the right thing? Or is this not the right thing? Or should I do this? Or I know what I want. And so I made a commitment. I'm going to follow through with that. I'm going to act with that. And I save a lot of time and energy because that's a priority and that's a focus. And I've made a decision that this is what I want to do. So actually making a commitment is very freeing. No, gosh, I don't know. What should I do? I have to do that. Yeah, I mean, that's just such a waste when there's indecision. And so I'm committed to this. I want to do this. This is what's important. I'm going to go and I'm going to go shopping for groceries tomorrow. And I'm committed. So I don't have to think about it. It's just, okay, I get up and I do it. Kind of a Monday.
I think we have to make a confession, Eric. And I know some people may not know us exactly what we do, but in the way Manoj introduced us, I think we should say that you are, in a very central role in New York. You're in kind of a war zone where all the activities of the Brahma Kumaris in the US and anything that has to be, sometimes checked or verified or accepted by the head office of the Brahma Kumaris in the Americas, a lot of things end up in your email box. And a lot of things end up somewhere around you. And you never mention how much you're dealing with and what you're dealing with. But I know you are receiving all kinds of things, very entertaining. And it's not the administrative load of things to do, which is lacking in your life. You have more than you ever asked for. I'm, on the other hand, in Canada. So you're in the States, I'm in Canada. I'm dealing with also a big country with very few people. So I think less trouble than you are handling, but still a few things to check on a regular basis. And I think so we both have a sense of, anyway, I wouldn't say commitment, but engagement. We have been engaged for a long time in a process where sometimes, we're committed, but it's like the result of the commitment has become bigger than what we committed for. And for me, I find that sometimes I commit to something, I say, okay, but suddenly the thing I committed for grow in between. And before I know, I signed for something. And after a few months, I don't know if they updated their policies or if they updated the terms of the contract, but what I signed in for has just multiplied by 10. And I said, wait. I committed to a 10th of what I'm doing, not to 300%. Does it happen to you sometimes that you feel you commit to something, you say, yes, I'll do that. But then it changes in between.
The example that comes in is when you give your finger, they grab the whole arm.
Yeah.
And they pull you in completely in that sense.
So do you stay committed at the time, or do you remind themselves of where you committed, where your commitment starts and where it ends?
Well, it is not committed necessarily to a limited task. It's committed to a purpose or an ultimate goal. And so everything is possible, but what is necessary with commitment is also cooperation. And so some of the commitment is not how can I do this, but how can I help get this done? And so building a team and having other experts and resources around makes it a lot easier to stay committed to the purpose without getting burnt out towards the activities that might be necessary. Trying to do everything on your own, if you have ever done that, doesn't work out. You don't have the energy to transform the world on yourself or fix somebody else or whatever else is going to be there. So that sense of commitment, yes, I can be committed, but let me think differently as I go through these things so that my commitment, I have the opportunity to give that blessing to others also.
Because I find for me, sometimes that my relationship with commitment usually forces me to look at myself in such a way that I realize that my resistance to commitment is a resistance to my own ability to let go of certain aspects of myself. And I find that sometimes if I have any, selfish motives, or I don't know, if I'm not clear in my head, I'm scared of being committed, because I don't want that commitment at some point to really crushes or to force me to do something I'm not willing to do anymore. So I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about commitment, or if I'm the right person to talk about how to avoid commitment in a beautiful way, in such a way that I remain committed to one thing, is don't take away my time I need for myself. And I think you mentioned that there was also an aspect that commitment could be a commitment to the self. Okay. And when I look at, what you're sharing about committed to the self, to God, and to others, I was thinking, which one is stronger for me? Is my commitment to myself the priority? Or am I such a great lover of God that God can ask me anything and I'll say yes, even if it's not respecting the commitments I have for myself? And will I love other people enough to say yes when actually I really feel saying no? So I'm kind of very fascinated in knowing, where do you stand yourself on this kind of dance between being committed to the self. And I know you do gardening. I know one day you told me your agenda, and you have an agenda very well organized, opposite to mine. And you set time to your commitment to all the requests from the world, which allows you to check the box very efficiently, because you have a big commitment to the garden at such a time, and a commitment to your own agenda at such a time. So you seem to manage those three commitments in a very well organized way. Are you using any special apps or any special device to help you to organize your commitments?
Yes, actually I do.
It's a notebook, yeah, pen and paper.
Paper and pen. I write things down because I don't remember. And if I don't write it down, it doesn't exist. And so that's one of the best feelings, is when I can cross things off and then there's no obligations left. I have nothing else to do. But as you were talking about commitment, and it's got to be a balance. In the Brahma Kumaris, we have 4 subjects that we study, supposedly. Gyan, Yoga, Dharana, Seva. And one is not more important than the other. They have to be balanced. And I think that commitment to self and others, or task, or God, have to be balanced also. Because if I'm not committed to taking care of myself, I'm going to run out of gas. I'm not going to be useful. And if I am not committed to others, then that relationship and that cooperation isn't going to be there. Something's going to falter. It's not going to work out. So I was curious, as you were mentioning, there is a burden or a loss that you said you were thinking of somehow experiencing. If you're committed to something, it's going to generate a loss. I wasn't quite clear. What do you think you might be losing in that process? Do you recognize that?
Enough time to go and play tennis.
All right. So,
I mean, I don't have time anymore to play tennis. That's terrible. We're busy all day long, serving the world, helping God, trying to be a better person. And then my friends are calling me to play tennis. And I say, sorry, I'm so busy. I don't have time. I'm joking, but I agree with you. I agree with you with the idea of the balance. But I found, in my experience, that when I said yes to, let's say, a role of coordination, or a role of organization, a role of administration, whatever, these roles, they don't have, I find there's a lot of those things, they don't have a moment where I can check the box, put a little line on the topic and say, okay, that's done. Because it's an ongoing commitment and it's never ending and it's always growing. And I used to complain a lot sometimes, saying, I said, yes, I can help in such a task. But now it's not just helping. The task has become most of my day, most of my life, and it has become so dominant that I find sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. And the answer I've been getting often was, it's not that you're going to do less, but you have to increase your capacity so you can keep doing more. And I thought, oh, okay, so I'm never going to cross that box. You know, that box is never going to be crossed. It's always going to be ongoing. And that's where I find that I needed to redefine what commitment is for myself. So I'm not committed to a task, or I'm not committed to a doing, but I'm committed to a stage of being, no matter what I'm doing. And I find it very useful to be committed to my own inner state of mind and saying, well, that one, I should not let it go, no matter what I'm being asked to do. Is that something you can relate to? Or?
Yeah, but tell me more a little about committed to a state of mind or a state of being. Can you flesh that out a little more?
Well, it's like, you know, when I'm wearing white, which I tend to do quite regularly, like you, I don't like to have a stain. Not because, yeah, I'm very, how to call it, vain, and I don't like to look dirty, but I don't like to wash it. And I don't like to pay too much effort, to make too much effort to remove a stain. And I find that the stage is a little bit the same thing. Is I realize that if I don't keep my head clear and clean and happy and light and easy, then it's like allowing certain things to burden me, to bring sorrow to myself or lack of happiness. Maybe it's not going to be pain or sorrow, but it may be a lack of happiness. And I find that over time, I realize that I need to be committed to maintain my state of awareness in such a way that everything else can be done, you know, naturally and easily without becoming a burden. Because I realize that it's not what I have to do that becomes a burden. It's how I feel about doing what I have to do, which makes me feel it's a burden. And that's where I thought that my main commitment had to be towards myself, telling myself, don't let your mind or your intellect or your state of awareness become spoiled with anything, because you're going to pay the price for it. And that's why sometimes I like to delay certain tasks, to tell someone, well, I'm not available right now, and I have other commitments. And I say that because I don't want to lie. And actually, I can easily do what they ask me to do. But I say, no, I have another commitment, which in fact is I'm not going to do it if it's really annoying me and if it's burdening me. So I need time to go and play tennis peacefully.
I think you can leave that last three sentences, last three words off. I have a commitment that I have to do. And then you don't need to say, and play tennis.
Oh, I don't say play tennis. I just say I'm committed to something else.
Okay.
And
so
now everybody will know what it is for.
So if you have some commitments, those are actually shields or barriers to protect yourself.
In which way?
Well, if you have a commitment, then you can say, oh, I can't help you right now because I have another commitment. So
yes, that's very handy.
It's a protection. So it's been very beneficial in that way, unless I'm asking you to do something.
But that's why I was curious in terms of, you know, for me, the dilemma is I love the three level of commitments you mentioned about the self, God, and others. And my relationship with God is such that I would love to say to him yes to everything. I love others enough that I would love to say yes to everyone all the time. And I'm always wondering if I would be the last one to be respected in the whole thing, and if I would be saying yes to God and to others on the, how to call it in English, if I would have to pay the price, if that's the commitment to myself that will be sacrificed when I say yes to God and to others. And that's where I personally had to work a little bit to reconciliate those three things, because the balance you're talking about, I agree with that. But my experience is that it could be lost very easily, that balance.
Okay. It might be lost, but I think there was some advice we've had from some of our seniors that if somebody asked you to do something, just say yes. Yes. Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Don't give an excuse or something, but say yes. And then you can add on, yes, I'd like to do that. This isn't going to work out here. Maybe we can do something else. Let's think about it for a while and give both sides the chance to evaluate things, in that sense of the Haji. But Haji doesn't mean that I have become a slave to your desires. It is, well, why don't we both think about what's right in the future in that sense? And one of the other elements that popped up was I was thinking is I was asked a question, because I do get involved in a number of things that really aren't what I would choose to get involved with. How do you manage that? And the answer that is still there for me is this isn't my job. Okay. I show up because I want to, because I'm a helper of God. That's how I see myself. And so that responsibility is like, well, if it doesn't work out, it's not my desire. And so that sense, I'm committing to me, a relationship with God rather than anything else. And that always will be dominant. Now, in that sense that I'm helping, I'm not going to take on the burden. If it doesn't work out, so be it. I've learned to understand that, I'm not the one who directs what happens in the world. I'm not the one who designs. I don't even know what's best most of the time. But if there's something I can do, let me do it. And if it's more than my capacity, it's not my job. And so somehow somebody else is going to show up or it's not going to get done. I don't have to feel bad. I don't have to worry about these things because it's actually God's task. And if he wants it done, he's going to send the right people to do it. And I'm way over my head in many things most of the time. I'm not an expert on stuff. I'm not a complete idiot, but I don't know a lot of details like anybody in any business would know over time. So reach out for help and recognize that this is what I can do. And if something else has to be done, then the right person is going to come along to do it, or it's not the right time or the right person. So I will commit to what I can do. And maybe if I do more for myself, I can do better at that. And so in a way, I commit to God, but fundamentally, I have to take care of myself first. So if I need to, and I do, step away from the computer for hours because of my eyes, something's, it's like this. It's quite a little side tangent here. But sometimes when I go outside after being in front of the computer, it's like I'm in kind of like, what's happening? The eyes are adjusting. It's going through some different experience. It's actually a different mindset that seems to happen. I don't know how to describe it necessarily medically, but there is a refocusing that takes place. And if I don't step away and take time for myself, I will not function well. And so I have spurts of energy and activity and focus, and then I have downtime. And I need to do both of those, take care of myself and know that fundamentally I've made a lot of commitments, and there's a hierarchy. And what's supporting all those, you can look either way. What's supporting all those is commitment to God, or what's the peak is the commitment to God. And with that, everything else will fall into place. So that
someone is commenting in the chat box. There's an interesting comment. Someone says, discerning whether God wants us to do something or someone else is expecting and taking advantage. Yeah. Because if somebody comes to you and says, Eric, God would like you to do this. Do you ask for confirmation that do they have God's email in their hand and do they have signature of God, or how do you know?
I do. And it's actually, that's good. What he told me was this, and then we can talk.
Oh, yeah, and then he can talk to you directly. That's good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't allow people to take advantage of our godly availability.
That's right. So, yeah. And,
but Eric, I was thinking, like, we both came to this organization fairly in a young age. And I'm sure, like me, I didn't come to the Brahma Kumaris to save the world. That was not my intention. I just wanted to learn yoga, and I discovered it was meditation, but because it was free, I said, oh, it's okay, meditation is good also. As long as it's free, I'm okay, I can learn whatever. But my aim was to, pay attention to myself, feel good, be happy. Then I learned that God was in business, and I was in his, in his team. So that was not the initial intention. So what about you? Did you find that you came with a certain commitment to yourself and then got very busy with all kind of activities? And did you ever find that you were losing maybe your initial purpose in coming to this group?
No. Because
you're more organized than me. I admire you because you are so organized, and when it's finished, it's finished. And I know you. Sometimes you answer our email in a beautiful way, and we ask you a very, very deep question, and you answer by saying, if it's meant to be, it will happen. I'm sure you understand. Om Shanti. And I said, Eric, you are out of the hook in a beautiful way. Anyway, sorry, I'm joking.
My commitment at the beginning is still the same one. And it was a recognition, and I guess I have to tell that little bit of a story, that I came into Gyan when there weren't that many centers in the United States into this spiritual knowledge. And I actually took the correspondence course. And so my teacher was 2,000 miles away. This was not internet time. This was paper and pencil and mail and postage. And so I took the correspondence
and that
course.
was what, in 85, no? Something
85,
like that? Oh.
85.
Yeah.
And so there was no one around. I didn't go to anything. I just heard actually Sister Genti on a rebroadcast of an interview, and it sounded good. And so the knowledge kind of came in, and I remember it's like, oh my gosh, this is true. God is here, he's working, and this is how it's going to be. And it all followed through. But I was still making that kind of an awareness to myself. There was no center. I hadn't met anybody yet. And so it was kind of that sense that, yeah, sign me up. This is what I need to do. This is how it's going to be. I still worked. I still did things, lots of escapades and travails and things like that. But that's kind of where I started, and that's kind of what it is. And that has helped me because, people come and go. If you heard a class this morning, people are going to come and be amazed, and off they go. And so I have seen that. And so if I made a commitment to somebody else, I would have been tossed around. If I made a commitment to who I was at that time when I came in, if you understand that I wasn't in my most elevated stage, then making a commitment to the habits I had and the situations that I was in would not have supported me. So I'm still kind of consistent with where I started. This is the teachings of, in my understanding, Supreme Soul, he's operating, and I can't think of anything else that I would rather be doing. So let me manage my circumstances so that I can have some time, and let me give myself a chance to watch and see how he works and what he does, because I think it's going to be a wonderful show.
See, I think that's why your name is with a K and mine with a C. I think you are very accurate with your karma. You understand karma very, very well. And for me, I spin in circle with a C. Because when I came into this organization, I was put in a spinning circle, and I'll tell you which one. I came, with the deep desire to become a pure person, an elevated person, to be happy, to tap into internal divinity. So that was clear. And I got a very strong experience after a few weeks, I think a few months, almost that the teacher told me, oh, a baby's born. And she said that my experience in spirituality was so strong that it was like a spiritual birth. And I was like blissful. I had experienced light and love and peace, and I felt, okay, finally, I'm becoming, pure, and I'm liberating myself from my negativity. And the same day, right after that experience, she says, okay, now God needs you, and you have to do God's service. So let's go. We have to do some groceries, and you have to carry the bags. And I said, what? I said, what? So I'm a baby. I'm just born. And you're already asking me to do what? To do grocery shopping with you and carry your bag? Hey, lady, can you not do it on your own? What's wrong with you? What does God want from me? I mean, carrying bag for you? Forget it. And I really didn't like it. And I thought, if this is service, I don't like service, no, give me time to enjoy my moment. So I think that's why I went into a circle, and my name is at a C. Okay. Because in the beginning, service for me was something very, I don't know, I didn't like it. It was always taking away from me the time I wanted, the energy I wanted. And I felt like, hey, I'm just a baby. Why are you asking me already to carry your bags or do something or save the world? I'm barely able to even save myself. So my commitment to something bigger than what I was creating at the time was very, very difficult. Later on, of course, it changed a lot. But I think that for many people, the needs of the self are so big, that before we ask them to join God's business and save the world, I think we have to check, are you okay? Do you get what you need? And I think the commitment to the self, it's such a fascinating one. And wondering, what am I committed to myself? Like, what is my commitment to myself? And I think for me, my failure came from a lack of commitment to myself. And if I'm not committed to, let's say, staying quiet and peaceful, if that commitment is not strong enough, there will be a time when the external situations will make me go upset and negative. And I will blame the outside situations as, oh yeah, because of that, I'm upset. But I realized lately, no, you're not committed. You haven't engaged yourself strongly enough to that commitment. I will not allow anything to upset me. This morning, I had a situation, I was dealing with something, and it came back to my mind thinking, I've made that commitment to myself. I don't have any ill feeling for anyone. I have no conflict with anyone, and I have no karmic debt towards anyone. I made that commitment a long time ago. It was a joke, actually. I said that as a joke, and it turned out it was so nice. I said, oh, well, let me keep it as a reality. I have no ill feeling for anyone. I don't want to have any negative feeling for anyone, and I don't have karmic problems with anyone. And then when I made that commitment that I want to behave with everyone from that state of mind, even this morning, I didn't realize it was connected to our conversation. But what saved me from feeling that a relationship was affecting me was coming back to my own commitment. Say, no, I decided, and I've been committed to it for a long time. I'm not going to allow any relationship to bother me. And that saved me this morning. I mean, saved me. I was not about to jump in the lake, but I was slightly disturbed.
So there was a relationship that was taking place that somehow you were able to hold on to a sense of self-worth through your commitment, and you didn't get pulled into that. And so your efforts had helped you in this situation. Is that correct?
Yeah. And I would dare, saying, although I subscribe to, of course, all the disciplines and the principles in the philosophy of the Brahma Kumaris, but I think if I were to be very honest right now, my commitment to the self, I believe, has to be stronger than my commitment to God. Because my past relationship with God is one where I felt betrayed by him. I know he did nothing wrong. I mean, he explained to me in the meantime, and he We went in trial and I accused him of killing my mother, because this is the fraud. How to say Freud, or the psychologist Freud. I always call him Frog, but apparently it's the wrong pronunciation. Freud. Freud. Okay, that's the one. Sigmund. Yeah, we call it Sigmund. It's better. I know he has fun with all these things with your mother and this, but when my mother died, as a Catholic, I thought that was God's doing. And I hated God for that profoundly. I rejected him and I thought, you betrayed me. So I came from a point where my relationship with God was not good. So when he asked me to carry the bag of that little sister from doing her groceries, I said, what do you think? You killed my mom and I'm going to carry your bag now? Forget it. No way. So my relationship with God has not been one where ask me whatever, I'll do it. No way. Was first prove me you didn't kill my mom. Then I may carry your bag, but still we'll need to negotiate. So my commitment to God, even today, when God would say, promise me you will be pure and I'll protect you. I said, what kind of deal is that? What kind of deal are you doing? I don't like that deal. No. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, no, I have to promise to myself to be pure. And please give me your blessing, that's fine. Then give me congratulations. Tell me you're happy with me, that's fine. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm still resisting
maybe you're
a commitment to God. I don't know what he's going to do with my commitment. He may abuse it. So.
Let's step back for a second. Have you somehow forgiven God for killing your mom?
Yeah, I forgive him a little bit.
Okay, that's a good start. Okay, so you've forgiven him.
As long as it doesn't start again, don't do it again.
You've forgiven him for something he didn't do, right?
Well, we negotiated the whole thing, yeah.
All right. So yeah, and it's possible that one of the issues about commitment is our past history and how we think about things. And so what is the process then to be committed to ourselves and to others and to God in a beneficial way, which I think it is, by eliminating or removing or changing or absolving or purifying our past? How does that work out, and what is necessary for us to be able to handle the stuff that we bring into that actually does dilute or prevent or pollute our ability to move forward with what we want and commit to ourselves? Because I think it's the same thing now. If I commit to myself and I know who I am and I know what's going on and I have knowledge, I'm pretty much committing to God also. And that sense that he wants to see us like he is. So as an equal partner. So can I hold that awareness that I'm committing to myself at the same time and the same equal level as I am to the task at hand and the one who's actually empowering that?
I think you can say yes in your case, because that's why he put you in your position with a lot of big files and big responsibilities. He left me up in northern Canada with the glacier to say, take your time to thaw, take your time to, get acquainted with the climate change, warm up slowly, you'll be frozen half of the year. It's okay.
Well, okay. So for the past 3.5 years, give or take a night or so, you used to go running around, stay out late at night, dancing, all sorts of things on Saturday night. Maybe that's not quite the case, but for the past 3 or 4 years,
the dancing, I'm not sure, but yeah, we're doing a few things. It's okay.
You've made a commitment.
No, I did it the last 3.5 years. I was with Sister Mohini every Saturday night.
That's right. And so why did you make that commitment? And why did you fulfill that, even though that limited all your tennis time and all your me time and all the things that you could have been doing, certainly your travel time? So why and how and what was the issue and the kind of nexus of making that decision to say, yes, I will show up and have a chit chat on Saturdays?
I think I would call it a spiritual selfishness. where I knew that if I do that every Saturday night, it will prevent me from doing wrong things on Saturday night, going on the wrong way. So in a way, I mean, I'm not doing wrong things really, but I knew that being in a safe environment, like the one I've been in every Saturday night for a long time, has been helping me a lot. And it's kind of protecting me. So I put myself voluntarily in God's jail to enjoy being fed and entertained and looked after very nicely by being with him in a way. So yeah, it is a little bit spiritual selfishness. I have no altruistic intention in that, I will admit. But I realized that, yeah, certain things I say yes to are first of all saying yes to myself. Even if I say yes sometimes to a task that I don't want to do, if I say yes to it, is only because I realize and I know it will be good for me to do it. Either because it's going to stop me from doing other stupid thing, or it's just that doing this, I may not want to do it, I may not like it really, but I know it's good because I would learn, I would grow, and I need to go through that to change certain things in me. So sometimes, I don't know if it's spiritual masochistic or spiritual selfishness, but I do think sometimes because of the commitment to the self. That's why I come back to, for me, it all starts with the self. And to be honest with myself, I realize I don't do anything altruistically. Even if I commit to other people, somewhere deep inside is because I'm honoring a value in me that I call loyalty, friendship, cooperation, whatever, kindness, love. But I'm committing to my own values and not really to the other person, I think, if I'm honest to myself at the moment.
So you might be like a Yudhishthira who could only speak the truth. He had a commitment to truth. And so those internal qualities and goals, and however you might want to see it, were a priority for him. And it sounds like that might be the case for you also, that there's certain ways of the self that needs to feel a certain way, and you can commit to that. And you're, in my understanding, you're saying that you're committed to yourself, but actually you're committed to a spiritual quality or a value.
Yeah, actually, you know, I like what you said in the beginning about cooperation. And to me, my personal engagement or spiritual dynamic, I believe today, is that my commitment is only to myself, actually. And with God and others, I cooperate. I would say it like that. But my real commitment is with myself. And the commitment to me is based, initially, it was one that was based on trying to free myself from pain and negativity. And today, I think that my commitment to myself is one where I want to honor my own dignity and the beauty that I've learned to see in myself, which is very different.
Yeah, totally.
And I've always understood that in life, yeah, we chase after two things: avoiding pain or increasing happiness. I've always appreciated that dynamic. And I really think that my early commitment was a little bit, I wouldn't say based on something negative. It's not that it was based on fear or whatever, but it was still a commitment trying to protect me. And today my commitment is more, I have faith that there's something great in me that I want to honor, and I want to be committed to allowing that greatness to be there, to be revealed, to be present. And if God asks me something, I would say, yeah, I can cooperate, but I'm not going to commit. Not yet. I'm going to cooperate.
And you're talking somehow this protective shell around, you know, an individual is there and has to be, you know, trusted and opened up, because what's inside is valuable. And when one is comfortable or strong enough to have that awareness, then what was motivating them and what was being protected now can trust the self enough to be the guiding light. It's always been there, but it kind of shares that it's a little egoistic at the beginning to want to protect the self, but actually it's a very nurturing thing. And then it moves into that awareness that who I am is not just the configuration of how the world sees me, but there's something inside of me, inside of everyone, that is worthy of honor, and that I am committed to being true to myself and using those values as a guidepost on how I make decisions. So trusting the self and honoring that and being in touch with the self, the truth of the self, is a very good way to move forward with others in God. I make a commitment to honor those qualities because they're spiritual and they're the same, and I should be in harmony then with the Supreme.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's part of the spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I think the spiritual journey includes, in the beginning, the sense of spiritual, I mean, for me, who was hurt in a way, with my own self or my relationship with God, my imperfect relationship with others. And I felt in the beginning, there's a sense of spiritual survival that we feel. I mean, for me, I felt that my little light, the pilot light, was being challenged to a point where it could get extinguished when you're almost out of light completely. So there was a sense of survival. Then there's a stage of healing. Then there's a stage of growing. And then there's a stage of sharing, giving. And I find that my commitment changes over time on the basis of at what phase I am in my life. Mm-hmm. And I don't regret those years of survival and healing. They were very necessary. And yeah, they were like me in my shell, telling God, don't ask me to pick up your groceries. I'm not available for that. Don't ask me to do too much. And I used to react, when I was asked to give a talk the first time, I said no. I said, I'm not going to do that. And I was very, very reluctant. And they told me, okay, you won't have to give the talk, but at least can you go to the place and set up the place? I say, okay, that I can do. I can set up your mic and I can put the lights and I can do things. So I went there. And once I was there, the person called me and said, sorry, I'm not coming. So you really have to give the talk. So I felt God tricked me. He tricked me and I didn't like it. I told him, never do that again to me. You tricked me. I told you I was not going to give a talk. So my resistance to saying yes was even greater. Yeah. But I was, my commitment when I'm a healing mode is different than when I'm in transformational role. When you're being transformed, a commitment is different. And I really relate in tennis, when you start to see yourself playing better and better in tennis, my commitment to success is greater. If I keep failing and only seeing my failure, my commitment to success gets very frustrating. And I think spiritually speaking, it was a little bit the same. So that's why I would say for me, I would say my commitment is a value that I nurture strongly in my relationship with myself. And then it allows me to cooperate with God and others, eventually, when I'm not playing tennis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, somehow, I think if you have that awareness that tennis is the metaphor for you to become perfect and pure and elevated, you should actually spend more time out on the court.
Maybe I'll try that, Eric, and I'll say it's from you.
That's right.
So next time God asks me to save the world and I tell him, right, I'm sorry, I'm practicing service, but on the court, I'll tell him it's from you.
See how it goes. I'm spreading the vibrations of peace and love in a place that very few actually go to. And so this is the service that I've been entrusted to help transform the world. That sounds good.
All right. Glory to the winners of Wimbledon in the next few days. Eric, we have a few minutes, I think, to see if anyone is still online. Maybe everybody's gone somewhere else shopping. Maybe we all gone shopping.
We went to go get groceries.
I have some questions.
There might be some questions, I don't know. And
Yes.
then we should keep at least 5 minutes at the end, because we'll do a stereo commentary, not miss. We're going to both combine our voices for meditation commentary at the end. But is there any question?
Yes.
Claudia, I knew you want us to...
we have some questions. The first question is that commitment through love? And I would say at New York, Eric, do you think, because he was talking about this, is commitment through love? Do you think it's related with true love when you commit?
I do, but it's not necessarily it's not a romantic love type of a thing. It would be a love of, in a way, not that would be the exact situation, but more parental love. Willing to sacrifice, willing to help out, willing to do something for benefit outside, for a parent, for a child. They would sacrifice some of their things so that the kids could experience something. And so that's a deep love of a commitment there. And so, yeah, I think the relationship of love and commitment are very intertwined.
Thank you. Eric, bye.
Well, in my other scenario where I'm in a shell and being reconstructing and healing and doing everything, it's not love.
I have another question. Commitment requires mental resilience to maintain something particular at happening, especially facing adversity. So what do you say about this? When someone has a commitment but has some adversity some situations come in life, how can they build resilience to still do the commitment, but how can they build up that?
Well, that's where I find, for me, that if I'm the one who needs to benefit from the commitment, I would see how the achievement going through the situation will be greater than giving up. And so I become a little bit stubborn when I'm committed, because I try not to lose sight of the achievement, the purpose, and the reward that I will get when I fulfill my commitment. So I find that when there is adversity and negativity, if my commitment was for others, I would be more likely to say, well, then I give up, goodbye, good luck, enjoy, have a good time, and good luck to you. But if my commitment is to myself, I don't want to fail towards me, and I would be more inclined to say, no matter what happens, I want to succeed, because my success towards myself would guarantee that what I do for others is authentic. It's true. It's coming from a pure, I'm not doing something by force. I think you said that, Eric, in the beginning. I don't want to do things by force. I don't want to be forced to do something, but I want to remain committed because I believe in the reward, the value, the purpose. And I see adversity, like you said, the word resilience. I think the adversity will polish one of the aspect of my personality that needs to be enhanced. So if there's adversity and I feel negativity, it means there's a value in me that is not working properly. And I like it when I say, oh, thank you for the adversity, because I can see why, I feel that there's adversity. Some other souls don't feel adversity. I've seen our senior Sister Moini, things happen and she doesn't translate it as a adversity. She said, even in the same class, I think we heard yesterday, Eric, was that the founder, Brahma, when she was asked, so how did he find a solution? Her answer was, well, he never saw the problem at the first place. So he didn't need to look for a solution because there was no problem. So if there's no problem, there's no need for solution. But if you think there's a problem, then you'll have to invent a solution, but I'm exaggerating, but it's true. So for me, adversity in the process is just going to strengthen the reason why am I committed. The commitment to me is not the issue. The issue is why am I committing to something? Commitment is a secured way of achieving something that I'm motivated to achieve.
So then there is a question: how's commitment different from achieving targets of meeting deadlines, as it sometimes creates anxiety? So you have the deadlines, and how much that commitment gives, kind of fear and all those things. So what is the difference? How do you handle that commitment?
The difference between a commitment and a deadline?
Yeah.
Is the question. Okay.
How do you handle commitment when there's a deadline?
Yeah. But that also is asking what the difference between commitment, difference from achieving targets. There is a deadline.
A commitment, you may arrive alive. Deadline, that's the problem. You arrive dead, right? On the line. I'm just joking. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. A commitment is, well, for us, it would be to something more elevated. Using Eric as the example, he was committed to his internal qualities. He wanted to hold on to those. And so those are, can give more power. And just kind of hitting a deadline, committing to that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is elevated or lofty or beneficial. We have people here who are committed to getting to the march on time so they can disrupt it. That's not much of a commitment for an elevated purpose, but they can hit the deadline. They can, just be on time to do certain things. And when that's over, then that's done. So I think a commitment for us, for me anyway, would be a sense that there's something more powerful than just the task at hand.
I was working in a newsroom for many, many years. And in a newsroom, you're managing very much deadlines all the time. And every day when we do a story, in the old days, we used to have to bring the tape, physical tape, in the broadcast room, if possible, before airtime. And it's a very typical scenario when the news is at 6. And at 5:59, you're still in the editing room, putting the last pictures. And everybody's stressed and everybody's yelling, where is the tape? Where is the tape? Eric, where are you? What are you doing? It's in 1 minute. And I'm usually giving a massage to my editor saying everything will be okay. Don't worry, it's fine, we'll make it. And everybody used to ask me, Eric, how can you be so calm on the deadline when we're still waiting for your tape? And so many times, and you've seen it in movies, but it's true, it really happened to me many times, running to the broadcast room with the tape in my hand, and the doors are opening. People say, come on, quick. And then we put the tape, the anchor is already announcing the news, press play, and it rolls, and nobody sees the difference. And it was a deadline, and there was a commitment, to perform my job. But to me, the deadline is just on a practical level. Either you make it or not. First of all, you're not going to die anyway. It's the wrong term that we use, a deadline, but we're not going to really die. But we're committed to excellence. And the deadline can be actually enhanced again. I mean, we have to go through the deadline either in a negative way or in a positive way. And I find it's important to be committed to the quality of how we do things more than being committed to what we're doing. And it's important to, of course, meet the deadline, but it's important to stay alive, first of all, before we do anything. And I find my commitment was always to stay a yogi in the newsroom. It was more important for me to reveal being peaceful, being quiet, being positive, and show that through that positivity, at the same time, I could meet very challenging situation peacefully. And I know when I left the newsroom, they always told me, Eric, we don't know if anybody else will know how to handle these deadlines like you did. And they used to say, yeah, he's a yogi in the newsroom.
Good. So do you think there is a relation between the commitment and courage?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you make a commitment to yourself about anything, you're tapping into some sort of an internal power also. And I know that I was committed to keeping my job when I first got it. And I wasn't very good. I wasn't an expert, but I had to go and meet people. And I didn't like doing that. But I was committed to play my role, do my job. And so somehow, because of that commitment, I would go out. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? And then I would have to engage with individuals and ask them to do things they probably didn't want to do. But making that commitment allowed other energy and qualities to be available. And so, yeah, I do think that probably not only courage, but quite a few others as necessary. That when we make a commitment, it is that I will act in accordance with that. And if it's clear in our mind, then what is necessary will be attracted.
I would feel the same way, Eric, and I would phrase it with 3 words. I think courage, commitment, and vision works in a circle with a C, and then it spins. And that courage, strengthen the commitment to achieve a vision, but the other way around as well. The vision makes us committed, and that commitment also enhances our courage. So I think it spins, both ways: vision, courage, and commitment.
Okay, there is a doctor here. She asked the question twice. She or he, I don't know, but the question was given twice. Should we keep doing service that seniors request, even if you don't get thanks?
Even if you don't get what?
Thanks. The seniors do
that
not.
doesn't make sense.
They don't thanks you. Thank you for you doing the service.
You don't receive.
Thanks.
You don't receive. Yeah.
You don't receive thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciation or thanks.
Not sense.
They say thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for all your service. We have a group that on Zoom that likes to thank the sisters who read them early. Thanks for your service. And it seems very odd to me when they say that, because that's a phrase in the United States that is often said to service people in the Army or the Navy or the Marines. Thank you for your service, kind of volunteering and helping protect the country. But my check is, it's nice to be acknowledged. It feels good to have that. But is that why you're actually doing it? And who are you doing it for? And how is the recognition experienced? Because if you're doing it for somebody to say something to you, you put yourself in a situation where you're going to be manipulated. It's not a good place to be, in my opinion. But if you are doing everything that you're doing for who's in charge, if you're doing Baba's service for God, then he's going to somehow respond to you, respect, thank you. And it could be subtle, could be just certain qualities. It's nice to be nice and to recognize and honor that. Some people are good at, identifying, and some are not. But to expect someone to thank you and acknowledge that is a problem that can be managed by the self much better.
Thank you.
I agree with Eric.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for thanking me, Eric. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
right.
for
It's good to be
clarifying. It's a
acknowledged.
nice one. Because many they're looking for the thanks. So there is another question here. Can you speak about all the personal benefits you get from all your commitment? Does your relationship with God improve by being committed to his task? I will just give to both of you, whoever wants to answer.
Well, Eric is more committed to God than I am, so you should answer it.
Not so sure about that. But for me, what's happening in the world now? And I will accept that it's going through change and transformation. People are, souls are, world are, is, environment is, the whole thing. And I like to know what's going on with some of the players and some of the situations. I find it very exciting to be trusted with God's perspective on the world. And I like that, so I want more of that. And so I'm willing to help out and do some things with that, because that's the perspective I have on it. I am able to see people and the world and events and the future, because God is giving me a chance to look at it that way. And I think that's pretty cool. I really like that. So yeah, I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing, frankly. It doesn't mean that's the only thing I do, service and work, but it's the underlying perspective and worldview on everything for me. It's good.
Thank you. So Eric, I think now there is one for you. I cannot accept people at workplace who are not committed to their work. It puts all the burden on me. How to handle all this burden?
Well, by increasing another commitment towards the self, that I will help others to become better. The moment we expect other people to behave according to how we want them to behave is a engagement that guarantees you pain and suffering. And it's true. And I know, because I've been working in 40 years in a work environment, and for half of that time, I was mostly coordinators of different teams. So yes, we expect people to behave in a certain way, to perform in a certain way, to achieve professionally. But our expectations ruin the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, I've learned that my first commitment to my own job is to do what I'm asked to do, regardless of the situation around me. And if the situation around me is not so good, people not doing their job, something not working well, why do I not take it as my responsibility to inspire other people to do it better, to help them? And I think when we have expectation, the vibration we have towards others is one of reproaching them, how to do, accusing, criticizing. And these energy are very negative. Mm-hmm. People would say they're justified, but they're negative. When I feel, what can I do to help that person? How can I help that person? And I'm talking, I had to deal with some people with problem of very deep personal problem, alcoholism, big problem in their relationship at home. They would come to work and it will be completely dysfunctional. And if I was to accuse them, to blame them, to criticize them, it will be worse. So I had to find a way to have empathy, sympathy, compassion, caring for them. And maybe I go sideways, not trying to make them do at work what I expect them to do, but let me try to be friendly with them. Let me try to hear what's really going on in their life. And my empathy and my sympathy for them made them change so much professionally. They may not have done what I would love them to do, but I saw that they were trying really hard to do their job better. And that's personally something I've gone through a lot in my professional career. And it works, it really works. So no criticizing, no blaming, but just inspiring.
Makes also the place of working easy when you try to see the person who are doing like that, I believe, what is going on in their life. Sometimes they have some parents that have a problem or something happening. So I believe that this, when we get this, then it's easy for them to commit themselves at work. Yes, thank you very much for that. I don't know if we have more time, Anu, can you check the time?
I think we are over time.
Okay, we have Dr. Mehta here. Okay.
Hi, Dr. Mehta, who had been showing us that power of commitment and inspiring us from day one. Also, Manoj brother is with us right now. I think he just joined. Anyway, over to you, Dr. Mehta, and then maybe Manoj brother can speak.
Om Shanti. Enjoyed the dialogue between the two Erics. Eric Bhai, I think what I realized is the commitment, most of the time we think in unidirectional commitment to be like him, like the Supreme, and follow in his footsteps. But here we have taken a very huge and wide view of commitments at different levels. And I also really liked when Reste Bhai said that courage, commitment, and vision. He almost crystallized the entire commitment in 3 words. But when I look at myself, after listening to all that you have discussed, was that commitment kept on shifting from time to time. When you were a child, your commitment was to your parents. When you went to school, your commitment was to your classmates, your teacher, your institution. You went to the college, your commitment was many times to your sports activities besides the education. When you went to a professional college, your commitment changes again. When you went into the profession, commitment changes. In other words, commitment kept on shifting from time to time. And when we came to Baba, that final commitment was to be like him. I think that was the ultimate commitment. So I think this dialogue on commitment between the two Eric brothers has really widened my view of life in terms of looking at commitment in a different perspective. I think it's a beautiful dialogue and really been enjoyed. And I've started looking at two Eric brothers in a different dimension altogether. Eric Larson, I have met him many times, stayed with him in New York. I've known him as a very, very simple, a very committed person. And Eric Bhai I have not met personally, but I've been watching him all along in the various episodes, full of laughter, full of zest, full of humor. And I think both of them brought multiple dimensions of commitment together. Thank you very much for making it interesting and enjoyable. Thank you very much. And Om Shanti, Eric Bhai. Eric Bhai.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Both Eric, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. I really appreciate it. Yeah. You get 2 for the price of 1 today. It was a godly special.
Really wonderful godly special. And thank you, Dr. Mehta, for really putting it so beautifully that both of them are lighthearted, humorous way. All of us who have seen them in the programs or met them, we know that how are they always light and humorous, but that comes with that very deep spiritual wisdom, as you can all see, and we get their sustenance, love, guidance always. So we can't thank enough for today's session. both of them came together. And it's not done. We will get a very nice meditation commentary experience. But before that, let me just quickly announce the upcoming programs. So, we have the workshop after 1 week on commitment. The first hour will be experiential exercises, and then we'll continue our journey on commitment with another very committed, beautiful Raj Yogi, senior brother, we would say again, is Yogesh Bhai, joining from Turkey. And it's on 15th July, Saturday, regular time, 7 a.m. West Coast, US, Canada. That makes it 7:30 India. Please join us then. And the next episode on Values for Life series is dedication. So commitment, dedication. It's episode 70. So definitely the team has committed and the dedication has brought us here. So we will hear the deeper spiritual aspect about dedication from our very senior sister, Asha Didi from India. She is the director of Om Shanti Retreat Center in New Delhi, India. So it will happen after 2 weeks, 22nd July, Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Our regular time, West Coast time. That's 8 p.m. India time. Please join us, and you can get more information, joining links on our website. That's vyasa.in and vancouver.brahmakumaris.ca. And all the videos, including today's wonderful video, would be on our YouTube channels, Vyasa India and Brahma Kumaris Vancouver. And it would be in all languages. The videos in all languages you can find. It's out there. And
Before we go to meditation, I would like to thank many times to both Eric for your commitment to come today, because I know it was a last moment call. So I am sure that everybody enjoyed when we sent the picture of two of you together. Everybody was kind of enjoying, looking forward to see both of you. So thank you for your time. I know both of you are very busy today, but still you came and talked about in our program today. Thank you in the name of everyone who participated in this program. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Brother Manoj and Sister Claudia to think of this wonderful moment that is created today. And Manoj Bhai is here by very nice coincidence, and this is the time to take the photo. So everybody can switch on your video so that we can keep this memory in our bank with a photo.
And I can't stop. I just wanted to really say your spiritual commitments now. Forget all your Lockic ones. We know you all have lived that. You all have really committed to this series so much. I really immensely thank from the depth of my heart to both the Erics. Thank you so much for this, because we know that commitment is a value which is needed for dedication and surrender. So which you all have really shown today. Thanks a lot. Big thanks for that. Thank you.
So I'll just take another few seconds for the photos. Smile, everyone.
Yeah, and I can share, quickly a funny anecdote is that when you asked us to come, Eric and I committed and I said yes. And so I'm here in the retreat in Peace Village, and my part in the retreat was this afternoon. And 2 minutes before we started this program, I got a call from the organizers of the retreat, and they said, "Oh, Eric, we're sorry. The program has changed and you have to come right now because your part is now. And we switched it, but we didn't tell you, and you have to come now." And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm committed. I'm into another program." So I'm just saying now that during the time we talked, Eric and I received 8 phone calls from the other big hall trying to tell me, "Eric, you come, you come, you come." So commitment is something that we do with love. We enjoy it until the end, and we have no regret once we're committed. So happy to have said yes, and happy to have been with you for the last hour. It was lovely. And Eric and I enjoy sharing the stage differently, sometimes just for joking. Today was a very lovely little chit chat. So thank you for the invitation. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I took the photo, but I just posted the message that was put by Denise, who says that the meaning of the name Eric is eternal, always ruler and sovereign. I don't know if you both knew it, but we feel that from you. So thank you for the wonderful session.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the name of the king.
Got the
So
photo.
Eric, we're going to do a short meditation, and I was suggesting to Eric that he will start for maybe, I don't know, 1 minute or two. And when I hear a silence longer than 20 seconds, then I'll conclude the commentary. Is that okay, Claudia Ben?
Yes.
And Anu?
Great.
So thank you for allowing us to be together. And thank you for being committed to this entire presentation. Because that commitment reveals the power, the courage, and the cooperation that you have reached in for and brought forth through your commitment. And in this experience and exchange, we have all discovered the qualities of love and truth that are special, unique within the soul. And so it's our commitment to honor those spiritual qualities, to take care of ourselves, to recognize that we can help others through our commitments, and that in our relationship with the Supreme, we can balance all three, self, others, God, through that recognition and commitment to ourself, the soul, the eternal being.
And before we return to our daily life, it is good to remind ourselves of the deeper commitment we take with ourselves. The truth, the beauty, and the dignity of the self that we want to reveal. And by maintaining this vision of a higher self, honoring the vision of my own dignity, my own truth, and my own beauty, I really cherish the beautiful relationship that I established with myself. Being with myself, with the feeling of being the best of the self, available to serve humanity. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much once more. And have a pleasant day. Thank you.
And we won't be leaving you like that. We'll be having many more episodes with you all in future. Be ready for that.
Very good. Next time you'll be
Let's
on a
see how it
donkey.
goes. What was your answer, Eric? Let's see how it goes.
Yes, we are committed to be there sometime in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of love to everyone.